I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. You're about to hear Real American Dinner Party by playwright, TV writer, and novelist Jen Silverman. Her plays include The Moors and Collective Rage, a play in 5 Bettys. Real American Dinner Party is directed by Tony winner Rachel Chavkin, who helmed the hit Broadway productions of Hadestown and Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812. The play features a brilliant ensemble of Lortel, Obie, Calloway, and Drama Desk Award winners, Quincy Tyler Bernstine, Sean Carvajal, April Matthis, and Matthew Rauch. And now, Real American Dinner Party. We're in Sadie and Tom's new apartment. It's posh, but minimal. Sadie's sister Marcy and her boyfriend Grant sit in fancy stuffed chairs, sipping their drinks.
That's great, you guys. It's a great place.
Yeah, I just love it. The place is just lovely.
Oh, it's just
a place.
No, it's lovely, Sadie. You two have views. There are views.
Got a lot of space. Looks like you got some space. This is a great first apartment.
And a yard. You have a yard. I've been saying to Grant.
And that? What's that?
Oh, it's just a little...
Is that a dildo?
Grant, it's an objet.
What?
An objet. An artistic...
Is that French for dildo?
Oh, Grant, you're naughty. Isn't he naughty? Sadie always liked collecting things. I remember, even when we were kids...
Hey, was that a ping pong table I saw downstairs? Tom, you play ping pong?
Oh, sure. I'm not very good.
He's very good.
Just have some friends over, relax, have a few drinks,
He always wins when he plays.
Grant plays too. He's very good too.
I'm pretty good. I'm decent.
Grant is good at sports in general.
I wouldn't call ping pong a sport.
It's a sport.
I played football back in the day. Tom, you play some football?
I never did. All that impact.
The NFL courted Grant.
Evidently, he took a different path.
Grant had lots of paths open to him.
Well, he's had a lot more time than the rest of us.
Grant isn't old.
The NFL, that's fabulous.
Fabulous.
I didn't say he was old.
Awesome. Great.
Fabulous. It was. It was fabulous.
So, Grant, I've heard so much about you. Marcy loves to call home and talk about you.
She's a great girl. She was a great secretary.
I wasn't your secretary, honey. I was a temp. Back when I was temping. You've all heard the story.
Uh-huh.
Wait, you were a temp?
Yeah, just a side gig, a side hustle. And then one day I was at Grant's office filling in, and he walked into the room, and we just clicked.
She couldn't type and she jammed the copier, but she had a great ass.
Okay, honey.
What'd I say?
So how's the job search coming, Mars?
Oh, well,
What?
Well, it's sort of on hold. I put it on hold.
I don't think she needs to be out there on the streets pounding the pavement.
On the streets.
What kind of man would I be if I couldn't provide for my girl?
The streets?
There's just so much to do. Grant and I just moved in together, so there's the unpacking and the unpacking.
Hey, ain't like we need any extra with what I make. Tom,
I work. Tom works, and I work.
You get older, man, you won't want your girl out there on the streets.
Tell me about these mean streets you were on, Mars.
Sadie.
Is there a problem?
There's no problem.
I don't know. There might be a problem.
Oh!
What's wrong?
What happened?
You okay, bro?
My eyeball fell out.
My
eyeball fell out.
Oh.
All the way out?
All the way. Out. It rolled. Ow! Don't anybody step on it.
All right. Okay. Everybody just freeze. I got this under control.
I'm on it. We're on it.
My doctor said I should get glasses. Sometimes I squint too hard and then I get eye strain. And he said that someday I would just squint my eye right out of my socket. And I guess that day was today.
That's awful.
Got it. I got it.
Got it?
That's a grape. Grant, that's a grape.
Oh.
That What's that right there?
That's a dust ball, Marcy. I haven't spent every waking hour of my life cleaning Tom's apartment for him, so that's a dust ball.
Grant's allergic to dust.
Does anybody see my eyeball?
We're gonna find it, honey. Don't freak out.
I'm not freaking out. I just don't want anybody to step on it.
Nobody is stepping on it, Tom. I said I'm looking.
Yes, but you don't look where you're going. You never look.
Oh, I never look?
She doesn't really look. When we were growing up, she never
like
really...
either of you have any sort of awareness.
What's that supposed
Can
to
you
mean?
guys just please?
Oh.
Did you find it?
My eyeball fell out.
What?
No.
I think it rolled that way.
Did you see it? Can you...
Hang on. Yeah, it definitely rolled in that.
Okay, but what about my...
This right here.
Yes.
I think it's another grape. Ooh. Oop. No, it's squishy.
Don't squish it.
Whose is it?
Mine.
Well, what color is it?
I don't know. It's dusty. It has dust all over it.
You really should dust. People are allergic to dust.
My eye definitely rolled in that direction.
That eye was closer to me and mine
It looked
smaller.
smaller, like it would fit my face better. Oh no.
My eye is gone.
Can you just hand me that eyeball?
Do something. Do something. My eye fell out. Marcy, why are you just sitting there? Marcy? Marcy. Marcy!
Both my eyes fell out, Grant. So I can't see where your eye went. I can't even see you at all, so I'm sorry, but I can't help you. And then, from the dark caves of my wet and empty sockets, a vision reflected back at me. All the things that I always have to look at, day after day after day, like Grant's jaw, and Grant's hair, and Grant's frown, were suddenly gone. So I could finally see. And I saw a city. A yellow wind blew trash through the streets, puddles of standing water in the gutters. I was walking down that street. It was not a clean street, but I was on it nonetheless, and so perhaps it was my street. Not the one I would have chosen, but the one I was on. Alone, yes, but not lonely. Moving in a forward sort of direction. And so I went forward. Unflinchingly forward. And then I was gone.
You just heard Real American Dinner Party by Jen Silverman, directed by Rachel Chavkin. It featured Quincy Tyler Bernstine as Marcy, Sean Carvajal as Tom, April Matthis as Sadie, and Matthew Rauch as Grant. Okay. We usually start by everyone saying their name so listeners are clearer about which voice is which. Can you all say your name and what role you played in this recording?
Hi, my name is Sean Carvajal and I played Tom.
I'm April Matthis, and I played Sadie.
Quincy Tyler Bernstine, I read Marcy.
I'm Matthew Rauch. I played Grant.
Jen Silverman, and I'm the playwright.
Rachel Chavkin, I directed the reading.
Jen Silverman, playwright. In your stage directions, you describe your play as beginning in a hyper-realistic mode and then turning with a vengeance to what theater buffs might call an absurdist piece. How did you land on this particular collision of two styles?
I think I'm always interested in theatrical worlds that are in transformation, where one thing turns into another. And I'm interested in sort of the ruptures and naturalism as well.
And director Rachel Chavkin, when first reading this, what went through your head in terms of its style, its heart, its impact?
Yeah, I shared this with the actors early in our rehearsal chunk, but the resonance that struck most strongly for me was like Carol Churchill's Far Away, where there is just an incredibly slow dawning of a totally dystopic reality. So you think you know where you are, and it's like being on an iceberg that's just slowly drifting off from the land you know to the land you don't know. And I find it in Jen's play to be very haunting because is you do suddenly turn around and realize you're in the middle of nowhere. And it resonates very strongly with me when I think about sort of great moments of cosmic change or psychic change that I have lived through. It's just like there is this sort of strange dissonance of, oh, my eye is on the floor. And it used to be in my head. And it is almost actually funny if you stop and think about it, because it just is defying the laws of the space-time continuum as you previously knew it. And then you sort of get used to it and you deal.
Right. So, Real American Dinner Party was recently published in a collection called Plays for Our Younger Selves. Jen, what did this play communicate to your younger self?
And I think the jury's still out. The press is Table Work Press, and they're really amazing. They're a young group of theater makers who are really interested in plays as texts on the page. And so they've been publishing a series of different plays, and everybody should check them out. They're great.
Anyone else who'd like to chime in? What do you think your younger selves might have come to better understand from this play?
Everybody's performing, everybody's putting on. You think that, oh, I'm going to be exposed. I have imposter syndrome and I'm going to be exposed that I'm not that cool or I'm not that rich or whatever. It's just you kind of see the cracks in everybody's persona in this, and it's really leveling and comforting in a way.
It's a good reminder of not losing yourself and other people. As simple as that. Just staying true to yourself if you can.
I'm very interested in the idea of sort of seeing and vision and not seeing. And I think I would tell my younger actor self to pay attention to what you see and what you don't see.
And to see through the noise. Periodically, there's women's movements to liberate themselves from all kinds of inequities. Do you see this at all as a consciousness-raising piece for women to better see themselves?
I certainly identify the emotional center of the piece as between the two sisters, between Sadie and Marcy. And I think there is a degree where Sadie is like looking at a sister that she doesn't recognize. And then on the flip side, Marcy's discovery of herself in that last monologue. And I think there is something quite revelatory and beautiful in her realization that she didn't choose this road and yet she is on it. And so the only option is to move forward. And so there is an empowerment and a self-actualization there for someone who, at least on the page, strikes me as someone who was very much not actualized prior to the launch of the play.
Why eyeballs, Jen? Why eyeballs?
Oh, why not eyeballs? I mean, when we were first rehearsing this piece earlier today and talking about it, Sean said something which really struck me in terms of locating the heart of this piece in a performance of etiquette, and that we all have to sort of put on this performance of etiquette with each other, and then at some point that performance breaks. And as I was hearing Sean talk about that, I was realizing how much the eyeballs for me become a metaphor of like when your carefully constructed and performed facade breaks in a social setting and something vulnerable or ugly or unpoised reveals itself. And I think there's something so vulnerable, about the moment where that break happens and what you do as a group afterward. And Eyeball somehow spoke to that moment for me.
Your play's called Real American Dinner Party. Everyone, what is it about this dinner that designates it as specifically American?
I guess they're coming over to meet Sadie and Tom. The sisters are kind of introducing themselves to their boyfriends. And there's also like, come to our new apartment. And it really feels like that kind of young people setting out on the path to the American dream, the nuclear family. And it feels like we're just kind of like checking where we are on the timeline of meeting that American dream. Like, do you have a nice house yet? What does your house look like? How solid is your relationship? How long have you known each other? And for sisters to be comparing notes that way just feels foundational in that idea of some American dream, which just keeps getting fractured and turned on its ear all the time. But it's always something that is immediate and we come back to because we recognize what that is.
What will stick with me is this etiquette, this pretend that we all tend to do in order to hide who we are, hide our flaws, hide our pain. It's interesting because I know that Jen said that this is a piece that's all American, but I think that this is a very human piece. It's something that we all do. I think that these humans in this play really show themselves when their eyes literally fall out of their socket, when they show their pain. And it's something that we all carry.
I just have to say thank you all for being here. It's a privilege. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you. You've been listening to Playing on Air, Great American Short Plays with Great American Actors. Assistant producers, Rachel Creedberg and Adithya Pratama. Marketing and Education Manager, Shelley Horwitz. Development, Lila Becker. Assistant to the Artistic Director, Eric Judson. Theme music, Tom Cochan. Recording and sound design, John Kilgore. Audio editing, Rachel Creedberg. Playing on Air is distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.